Welcome to the Drooniverse!
And welcome one and welcome all to the officially unofficial Elite Dangerous Stream Extra Bonus Edition here on Saturday evening. We're all specially privileged to be here, so welcome and to this special version of my stream where we have some special guests, we have some special missions, and we have stuff to do. So we will get onto that in the fullness of course, but of course we must do the thing because the thing must be done before we get onto any of that exciting stuff. So let's get through it quickly because it's stuff that we need to get done. Right, let's do it. Right, with me, GB in here in first place, 1900 hours. Good to see you, of course. Top Shot in second place, very predictable. And D Pitman 42 there as well, fantastic. Nice to see you, early birds, catching the worm. Hope you enjoyed the worm. So fun stuff. Where does that phrase even come from? Who wants a worm? Anyway, right. There's a lot of chatter between these three for quite some time, and it's chatter that is probably best forgotten. Biff Boy 81 is there as well, somewhere in the mix. Good to see you as well. Commander Silent Double D is here as well. Good to see you. Thank you very much indeed for popping in. Commander Tragic Blue 21 is here. Commander Karnath is here. Good to see you, sir. Commander Caron is here. Sven Golian is here. Andy P783, which rhymes. Very important to point that out. He's here as well. Good to see you. Top Shot is handy with his waffles and his popcorn, which is good to see. 3 streams from Drew in 1 week. Can we handle the excitement? Well, if you need to go and take a junior aspirin and lie down somewhere, you're excused. It's absolutely fine. Right, who else do we have to chat? Eridan Dundragon is Dundragoning again for the week, possibly, and is here with us this evening. Good to see you. Sleepy D Wagon Man is here as well. Apparently, I'm in the chat, which is unexpected. Ugly Spirit is here as well. Good to see you. Cyber Army's here. And we also have scrolling down. Yeah, Dominant Hornet is here as well. Good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. And we have Tuplex in the chat as well. So welcome on and welcome on. There's quite a few other people in the chat, but they're wisely keeping quiet at this stage, which to be honest is probably extremely sensible as well. Bean GTR is here as well. Good to see you. Thank you very much for the if you are there, we are. I'm going to be doing something, well, for me, semi-serious. This is important stuff because we, as you know, are leading up to a major expedition in the universe of Elite Dangerous coming in 2026, and things are starting to get interesting. Things are starting to happen. Things are afoot, which is always an exciting place to be in the game. So we'll get onto that in a minute. Bling look. Gaspar is here. Oh no, Gaspar we've got. Commander Welsh Dragon is here as well. Good to see you. Thank you very much indeed. There's a few lurkers. There's a first time Jat. Oh, there we go. GW 5007. That's an excellent 07. Congratulations. The good, the bad, and the ugly is here as well. Loitering as well. Good to see you. Thank you very much for popping in. We don't have a look command. So that's all good. So what are we doing? Well, what are we doing this evening? We are well. First off, I've got some special guests, and I'll get to them in a moment. And I will introduce them. I'll let them introduce themselves because they'll be far better at it than I will. And we'll talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing this evening, and hopefully paving the way for some of you to get involved in some of these things. There's a lot of work that's being done to provide an exciting and enthralling kind of adventure environment for Elite Dangerous as part of an upcoming thing, which I'm sure you're aware is called Distant Worlds 3. And it's an exploration-focused adventure based as a kind of like a sequel to the sequel of the original Distant Worlds, of Distant Worlds 2, which very many Elite Dangerous commanders will be familiar with. One of the probably the biggest in-game event. I'm pretty sure. I'll double check with these guys in a minute, but pretty sure it's the Distant Worlds 2 was the biggest in-game event, certainly player-driven event anyway, that there has ever been. So I think that's quite a thing. And Distant Worlds 3 is shaping up to be a worthy successor to Distant Worlds 2. See how the numbers work? 3 follows 2. It's great. Yeah. Everyone keeping up with the maps. I know it's going to get complicated, but there we go. So without any further ado, let me get the guys on stream. They're waiting patiently in Discord, champing at the bit, one imagines. But we'll get them on board because I need to do a sound check anyway, just to make sure everything's working. Because these things are complicated. Well, they're not complicated, but they're complicated for me. All right. because I'm old and old-fashioned. So I'm just gonna switch it on, and we'll with the moment we'll just check that they're all there and make sure that everybody can hear everything and everything's working. Okay, here we go. Right, I'm hopefully in the Discord, and I'm hopefully speaking to everybody live on stream as well. So, Andrew, are you there? Can you say a few words for me? Is he there? Is he there? I can hear some chuckles. That's a good start. Who's that? Was that Karnath? Go for it. Hello. Right. So, questions. Can folks just double checking? Can folks in the Twitch stream hear? Oh, nothing. No audio coming through. Hang on a minute. Why is that? That's interesting. Let me try it on this mode here. Let me switch to the game, and let's see if that works. Try that again, Karnath.
Yeah, I've got you loud and clear. It's just the other guys.
Perfect.
It was working a minute ago, so I don't know where they're gone.
There we go. That sounds like it's working for the.
I didn't want to interrupt you because you said hello already.
Fantastic. Okay. I thought I'd got this right, but the
hello,
trouble is right, it's all working. People on the Twitch can hear you as well. For some reason, it was only working in the game broadcast mode, but never mind. Right, that's brilliant. Thank you very much for that, guys. Right, I have got in the chat with me many of the folks from Distant Worlds 3, the organisers, the top. The head honchos, I think it's fair to say, of Distant Worlds 3. So we have Andrew Gaspar, we have Jairus Tanner, we have Karnath, and we have Othon von Salzen. Now, I'm not sure if those are real names. It's probably, if they are real names, they're not real names. If you see what I mean, they're people who we talk to online as usernames and stuff. So, Andrew, can I start with you, since you're for no particular reason other than it's alphabetical order? Who are you, and what do you do for Distant Worlds 3?
Right. Well, thanks for the invitation. I've been playing Elite since 2014. Have been a fan of the Salome event, Distant Worlds 1 and 2, and have been a member of the Galactic Mapping Project since, I think, 2015. And what I'm doing for Distant Worlds 3 is mainly handling the narrative, the story, with a certain British author. And we are doing the NPCs, we are doing the narrative when it comes to publishing them on the forums or on various social media accounts, staying in touch, and basically answering questions related to the storyline.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's brilliant. Thank you very much. So you're definitely a bit of a veteran, and you like a good story. It's fair to say.
Always.
Brilliant stuff. Jairus, how about you, sir?
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yep, you're all good.
All right. So yeah, I've been playing this version of Elite since 2016. Originally on Xbox, but don't hold that against me. So now I'm fully PC'd up. My role really is to interpret what you and Andrew are producing and turn it into something which we can use in MetaElite.
Yep.
So I'm taking your narrative and turning it into basically an RPG. So yeah, that's kind of what I'm doing. So yeah, I'm a massive lore geek as well. So I played the original.
Fantastic stuff. So, for people who don't know, we have demoed MetaElite before on the stream, but just if there might be some people watching at the moment who don't know what MetaElite is, could you give us 30 seconds on what that actually is?
A whole 30 seconds. Yeah. So MetaElite is basically a way that we can bring missions and narrative back into the core Elite game, rather than having to wait for galnets and so on. So we can actually put that into the cockpit of your ship and get you to go do things. That's pretty much what it boils down to.
Perfect. And we'll do our best to demo parts of that this evening. That'd be really, really good. Fantastic, Jairus. Thank you very much for that. Karnath, I appreciate you've got a sore throat, so I'm not going to ask you to say much, but just say hello and introduce yourself briefly.
Hi there. So yeah, I've been playing Elite since the very early version, 1984. and continued all the way through to the launch of this one in 2014. Big exploration kind of guy. My lead, I am deputy lead of the Distant Worlds 3 organization team. I also help out with the MetaElite team, and yeah, that's pretty much sums me up. Apart from my throat, I do apologise.
No, it's absolutely fine. No, it's that time of year, isn't it? That's brilliant. And Othom, you're the final one in the chat. Last but not least, I imagine. So say hello.
Hi, Drew. So Oton is not my real name. I'm also not German.
Okay.
Yeah, most people think that. So I've been playing this version of Elite since almost the beginning, I guess. I know most of these guys from Children of Rexla, and I'm the creator of MetaElite, and I interface also with GT in doing the final check on the things he creates, to give feedback on what is possible, what isn't possible, and to make it happen, to run the server side. And yeah, I think that's the best description of what I'm doing. But
Fantastic.
mainly, I'm the coder behind this project. Yes.
Brilliant, yeah, and a very impressive piece of coding it is actually. We'll get onto that in a moment. One of the questions just come in from the chat, which I see that Andrew's already answered in the actual chat. But is MetaElite actually released yet? I know it's a point product in the sense it's not a version 1, but is it sort of publicly available right now, or are you still in sort of a test phase?
No, it's definitely publicly available,
Okay.
and we're still in a 0-point version, but essentially the first stable versions have been a reality for the last few weeks.
Perfect. Excellent. Fantastic. Okay, well, we'll get onto that in a moment. Andrew, it's probably worth us, because we've sort of skirted around the issue a little bit, probably worth us just talking a little bit about the narrative. And I'll let you say as much as you want to say. I'm quite happy to pitch in with anything else that you want me to clarify. We don't. It's not secret squirrel, is it? In the sense that we've joked about it a little bit, but I'm certainly helping you guys out with a bit of sort of lore-based in-game narrative and so on and so forth. We're not running this directly in, if you like, the official Galnets, partly for reasons of speed and flexibility on our behalf, and the fact that obviously we've got MetaElite to allow us to create our own missions and structures and stuff, which Frontier simply wouldn't be able to support at the speed that events will unfurl as we go forward. Is that a sort of fair way to pitch it?
I think so, yes. And we've been asked a couple of times from players all around, so from Discord and from the forums, whether what we do is fan fiction, whether what we do is, let's call it just an event, or whether there is some official backing behind it. And I think that's a good opportunity to lift the veil, so to say.
Yeah, I think so.
To lift the veil. Of course, we have been in contact with Frontier from the start, especially when we created the overall story arc, and we gave it to them along with some of the or all of the major NPCs that you will encounter in the forum posts, like Mahon, Jasmina Halsey, Azalea Halsey. So let's call them the official NPCs. And we asked
they're not real
people
in the sense of players, are they? But they are real in the sense of they're in the lore. Yep.
Yes, exactly. So, and I guess you really have to be a little bit a bit careful about them. You can't just let them die, obviously. But to our surprise or not, Frontier was very, is candid the right word? They were very open.
I think open's good.
Yeah. Okay. They were very candid and open, and they said yes, you can use them. Especially Jasmina Halsey, people will realize by now that she is playing a certain role, at least in the upcoming expedition.
Yep.
And to put it bluntly, we are allowed to use her and put words into her mouth as we see fit within our fan fiction.
Yep.
And that's also where Frontier said, because of the law and because of possible future developments, we, Frontier, will not use the major NPCs that you are using for your fan fiction in our official support of Distant Worlds 3, because there may be conflicting situations, stuff like that. So that's basically the working relationship that when the story is concerned, we have with Frontier right now.
Yeah,
I
and
don't know if
we're
that
obviously
answers your question.
yeah, that I think that's really good. We've got, I mean, some people will be kind of like, yeah, well, that just means it's just fan fiction. It doesn't matter, and that's yeah, I understand that. I completely get where Frontier's coming from as well, because they haven't got the time or the resources to be double checking that everything that we do is something that will be published in Galnet and goes through their things. And we're going to be treading with great respect. You know, we're not gonna take these characters out of character, as it were, and do things that don't make any sense. So you know, we're being very careful. We're checking our progress with them as we go through. So yeah, we're not going to be doing anything stupid, but it does allow us to have access to the richness of Elite Dangerous lore. It allows us to tell a story which is based on that lore. That's probably got a bit more interactivity in it for players who've joined Distant Worlds 3 and use MetaElite than any other way of telling an interactive story in this game at present. So I think we're in a very powerful position, and we've got Frontier's sort of blessing, but not, you know, they're not embedding everything into the game. But we do. Can we say we've perhaps got the odd surprise for players lined up? Is that too much or?
Definitely. Yeah. No, we do. Yeah.
So it's
I
not
see, Mr. Baggins, you are full of
there.
surprises.
Yeah, exactly right. So it's not. It's yeah. I think one of the things for players will be interested here is Distant Worlds 3. Frontier is involved. Should we just say that?
I think so.
Very much
Yeah.
so. Yeah, very much so.
Yeah, I think we'll leave it there. People can read between the lines as to what that might mean.
I mean, we can confirm the recurrence of the edible poet. They are definitely making a return.
Yeah, the boring poet.
So basically, so in summary, I mean, what we've effectively got is we've got a rich amount of lore and story. I think we've got a pretty cracking story developed now that will unfold through your website. There will be snatches of bits and pieces in official Galnet as well, which people will spot. But the richness of the story is really going to be told via Distant Worlds 3, which will get repeated on the forum, repeated on your website, and various other bits and pieces. We're dropping in, well, you're dropping in sort of different multimodal types of content, different types for people to engage in. And MetaElite is going to provide us with the ability for players to actually interact and do stuff in the game.
I think that's a pretty organic or natural way to extend the game. I mean, if you look at other games and Elite, of course, there is a very alive Reddit community. They do their power play role play. They write in character on Reddit, which I find funny, but nevertheless, a lot of stuff is going on in Elite-related discords. For example, the Azura initiative, they have been basically role-playing their own carrier-based bubble around the Great Annihilator black hole for years now.
Yep.
There is a lot of stuff going on outside of the game, but which enriches the game. And part of that, quite a few items actually made it from, if you really want to be academic about it, quite a few player generated items made it from fan fiction to canon. And Distant Worlds 1, for example, Distant Worlds 2, I reckon Distant Worlds 3 will also be considered canon at some point. So that's really where you see that the stories of players enriches the game in a fantastic way. And that's basically what we are doing with Distant Worlds 3 as well, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's it's an opportunity just to get involved and widen your Elite Dangerous playing experience. I think that's a good way of looking at it. Fabulous. Right. Okay. Well, let's get into some of this now. One of the things that I'm still, unfortunately, we've still got a technical issue in the sense that my Streamlabs OBS is not picking up the MetaElite overlay, which appears on my screen, which is really quite frustrating. We're still working on that one. We're going to find different ways of doing this in the future. In reality, of course, what happens is that the MetaElite software product puts some very familiar looking in-game menu structure on top of your Elite Dangerous game, which is a very cool thing. It feels like it's just there in the cockpit with you, which is really nice. Unfortunately, I can't demonstrate it. I might take the occasional screenshot of it as we're going through the thing this evening just to sort of show it, but it doesn't show up on my Streamlabs for technical reasons, which is a bit of a shame. However, I do have Meta Lens, so let me just pop this up on the screen for folks, because this is what's sitting behind the scenes. Othon, maybe you can just very quickly explain what this actually does. From a technical perspective, what is it reading between me and the Frontier servers?
So what your game is actually doing, and it's very unique in that sense, is that it writes an action log. So everything you do in game is actually represented in a file. And it's basically on that file that other websites like EDSM or Inara collects all the data on the ED universe. But since it's being written in real time, this application is reading this in real time. And then via smart ways communicates only that which is relevant to the missions and to the campaigns to my servers, where it will have the ability to trigger certain actions that progress missions and complete tasks within. The backend is not exposed at this point, but it also has like an editor environment where you can create the campaigns, the missions, the tasks, and where you can code actually how these triggers should behave. And we can be very extensive with that. I think we have the ability to do almost as much as Frontier has in the game, but in the sense that it's no longer procedurally generated. This is generated by people actually writing things that have an actual meaning inside of the game. And so
what you're saying is you can create a mission which requires me to do this and that and go there and pick up these and all of those components and have it interact directly on the screen, which is
exactly
very cool. Yep.
And it's interacting with you, but it's also interacting in a community way. You will see in the mission today, we have a community goal where all players are kind of interacting with each other to complete a common goal. And these can be really quite complicated. I will not go into much technical detail, but
that's good. We'll learn about it by doing the actual mission. So guide me through, guys. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I've got MetaLens and MetaElite running. I don't think I'm signed up to said mission. So what do I need to do to sign up to the mission?
Yeah, maybe GT, because I'm too invested to have a good explanation. And
fantastic.
So let other people do that. Yes.
All right. Well, the first thing now that you got the Metal Lens up and running is to click the logo in the bottom right there, and that should bring up your mission status.
Okay, so I'm seeing there's 4 missions available. One is Ancient Mysteries. One is MetaElite, which I think is the training mission, isn't it?
Yeah.
And then there's the High Galaxy something, and there's Echoes of Galcop down the bottom.
Yes. So the mission today is Echoes of Galcop. The other ones that you see there are our Distant Worlds preparation missions. There's a training mission there as well to sort of get you around MetaElite. But yeah, Echoes of Galcop is the one. So if you just click on that icon, you'll see that there will be some mission details pop up. So an offered mission.
Okay, so I've got Jasmina Halsey, report for duty.
Yeah, I'll do.
That's it.
Just before you do that, actually, if you right-click on the Echoes of Galcop icon, you should end up with a little description of what is actually going on.
Fantastic. Okay, so it's saying here, federal and imperial officials declined to publish an itinerary citing patient and privacy protocol. She is recuperating, and she's gone off to visit some place in the Tionisla star system. So that seems to be what she's up doing. So that's, if you like, the background to the story that we're about to run.
Yeah, indeed. So if you close that one down then,
Okay.
and then you can click on your mission.
Perfect. Okay.
So what you'll see here is a brief description of what's going on, and then some targets for you to hit.
Okay, brilliant. So I've got to go to the Tionisla system. I've got to configure my scanners, and I've and the last one, their deadline passed. Have I got a time limit I've got to achieve this by?
There is a deadline.
There is a deadline,
and
so
it says there in the first text, complete the entire task before December 15th. So you've got a bit of time.
Right. Okay. So I'm not going to run out of time in the next 5 minutes. Actually.
No, we'll be all right.
Fantastic. But and again, apologies, you can't see this on the stream, but if I just unhide, what I'm seeing on my screen here is that the objectives have appeared in between my, where my ship name and the time is on the right, and where the comms tab is on the left. There's a new UI that's appeared, which is basically exactly that. It's go to Tionisla, configure your scanners, and be careful that there's a deadline looming. So it's all interactive on the screen, which is fantastic.
Just what would be good for that would be, I don't know whether we have time for this or you can actually do this, but it would be interesting to play the Halsey video explaining why we're going to
Yes, that's not a bad call, actually. I can do that. So explain a little bit about the Halsey video before we watch it, because since it's the 15th of December, then we're fairly relaxed on time. So what are you doing here? This is video. This is a new thing. This is not something that we've seen much more before in Elite and Dangerous. So what's happening here?
Andrew, do you want to do that? Save my voice, or I can do it, but it'll just be a mess.
Go for it, Andrew. Yeah.
Okay. Well, we have Turjana, who is a member of the broadcast, and she offered to do a video to narrate a video based on the NPC designs or sketch or image that we had for Jasmina Halsey, and she proposed, or she said that it would make the beginning of the campaign more alive. So what she did is she created an Jasmina Halsey avatar based on the descriptions that we have in our NPC description. She did that with a software called Character Creator. I think it's Character Creator 5 or something like that. So she created that avatar and then made it come alive. I'm not an expert on that tech. She made it come alive with, I think it's called iClone.
Right.
And
okay, so it's an animated avatar.
Yes,
right.
there is no AI involved in that. So she created the avatar, and she made the avatar come alive with iClone. Had the text and spoke the text. So she also narrated and motion captured the avatar in the way that people can experience by watching the video.
So what you're saying is our NPCs, if we give them a speech, can be voiced by hopefully talented people like Jan.
I'm sorry?
Sorry, yeah, I was just saying. So basically, what you're saying is the NPC characters, we have the options of effectively bringing them to life with talented people like Jan doing voiceovers for them effectively. So she gets to act, and we get to enjoy the thing. Okay, well that's fantastic. Well, let me switch over to that. Let's pop that up. Images, videos, docs. Hopefully that's still working. Right, let me fire it up. Here we go. So well, let's leave it up to Jasmina Halsey in that case.
Thank you all, and forgive the frailty in my voice. I have woken to a clarity I did not possess in 3302. Then I spoke in broad brushstrokes, the infinities of the cosmos.
Is there audio?
Many heard poetry.
Yeah, it's working.
Some heard madness. I do not blame them. Today, the vision returned with the sharpness of a hard frost. The voices were the same, calling themselves caretakers. Not deities, not sovereigns, but besieged entities. And their message was not an invitation. It was a warning, no, a cry for help. Something is broken in which space. I use that older word deliberately. We in our age prefer the tidy euphemisms of frame shift physics and hyperdrive technology. But our ancestors named phenomena with a deeper human honesty. In my vision, I stood within a darkness that I knew should have been empty, yet I perceived a fabric under tension. Through it ran a pulse, steady, mechanical, almost like the throb we all feel when we travel between the stars. Only this rhythm was out of true, as if some great ethereal mechanism were slipping a cog on every revolution. With each misbeat, the darkness frayed, strands parted. I heard the caretakers not as a choir, but as defenders at work, urgent, under-resourced, asking for time we may not have. Hold, they cried. Do not tear what cannot be mended. I am not a scientist. I am a witness. Yet I know this. When navigators report lights in witch space, when pilots describe a hollow tone in their cabins during transit, when our beacons return anomalous echoes, we dismiss these things as glitches or superstition at our peril. The pulse I heard is in the void. It underpins us. It is failing. Something is very wrong. So, I ask, regardless of your affiliation, let us move beyond rivalry long enough to test what can be tested. If the fabric that bears our commerce and our quarrels is fraying, then our first duty, federal, imperial, alliance, and unaligned, is to find what threatens everything. There is a place where the old meets the new. It is there, in the timeless bellies of ancient vessels, that I hope we can find a thread that will provide a new insight. I ask those who are willing to prepare to journey to Tionisla and its vast historical archives in the coming days. I will lend what voice I have to that purpose and hope to meet you there. Before that, however, I will submit myself to examination by physicians and physicists alike until we know whether these visions are messenger or malady. But if they are true, we must act with humility and quickly. Thank you.
Boom, boom, boom. Right, so, okay, let's switch back to the game. Make sure I've got my folks on. Nope, that one. There we go. Make sure I've got my folks on. So, okay, well, I mean, Jasmina Halsey is as vague and ethereal as she normally is. But it would seem she's had an additional vision which echoes the previous vision she had many, many years ago now. And such visions are driving us to visit the Tionisla system. She's asked for some help in digging through facts in some sort of historical archive. So well, I guess we have to go to Tionisla. That seems to be what MetaElite is telling us. So, well, bravo, Distant Worlds 3 folks, because what you've effectively done there is you've done 3 amazing things, and it's not even breakfast time yet. You've got support from Frontier, and you've got some talented voice actors doing some amazing work, and you've got permission to use some of the in-game lore characters as well, which is great. And we're off on an adventure, so there's things to do. I'm being told here, report for duty, go to Tionisla, configure my scanners, and do that before the deadline passes. So I suppose I better get moving. Is that fair?
That will be fair. Get yourself to Tionisla. See what happens.
Right. So let me click on the game and get ourselves moving. Right, launch. Off we go. The question is, what's going to happen? Well, I mean, that's the whole point of a good narrative. Is nobody knows what's going to happen yet, because I mean, and what's the duration of Distant Worlds 3? We're not actually at the launch point yet, are we? In the sense that we've got I'm not going to believe this. One of my HOTASs has malfunctioned.
Don't speak and drive.
Well, I've got lateral control, but my throttle, shall we say throttle, and my stick is working, but my throttle isn't. It's been sabotaged. So hang on, guys. I'm gonna have to dive under the desk and waggle a USB cable. Bear with me a minute.
A Covas can be a spiteful thing.
Right. There we go. I've now got throttle. Oh, I've managed to bust something else now because my camera's gone. You can tell. See, this is live. This is what's good about being live. Right, bear with me. Let's get this back online. Looks like my NVIDIA didn't like that. You're back. There we go. I'm back. Oh, and now I've got to switch on my thing. Computers, eh? Right, I think we're back in business. Fantastic. Right, can everyone still see me on the chat? Is everything working? I think it's looking good. Right, we're off. I did save myself a little bit of time because I was out and about in the galaxy, but we are now at Abraham Lincoln Space Station in the Sol system. I'm just maneuvering my ship. Oh, there's something else coming. Oh, there's a massive anaconda decided to come through the slot right as I'm leaving. Wintermute says, unfortunately, we can still see you, so that's excellent news. Right. So now Alessia Verdi is the character I am flying this evening. I've been spending a few days just making sure that she's got a ship that's actually worthy of doing exploration, because she's not really done exploration before. She was a supporter of Salome originally. That's where she came from, obviously after the events of the Salome incident, which we're all familiar with, things didn't quite go the way that Alessia wanted them to go, and she got rather disillusioned. So there's been quite a lot of water under the bridge with Alessia Verdi. So at this stage, from a kind of narrative perspective, she's quite an embittered and disillusioned young soul, perhaps hoping to find a little bit of absolution in the depths of space. So I think that's where she's coming from a perspective of being involved in Distant Worlds 3. So the Tionisla system is not too far from Sol. Certainly within the bubble, and in fact for my Caspian Explorer here it is a mere 2 jumps away, so it's not going to take us too long to get there. No, I almost got a loitering fine there, didn't I, because I undocked and found out my controls weren't working. That's something that I find peculiar about computers. It can be working fine, and then I switch it on and switch it off again, and suddenly things are not working. It's a little bit like getting in your car and finding the pedals don't work after you start the engine and you know, put the handbrake off. So don't do that. That's very bad advice for me. For those of you who know the background lore, Tionisla will come of no surprise that it's a destination. Now, there is an organisation in the Tionisla system called the Tionisla Historical Society, which doubtless Jasmina has been advised to avail herself of their knowledge. If there is anything that is written down, documented, or there's some kind of historical artifact relating to it in the history of the Elite Dangerous universe, it's almost certain that the Tionisla Historical Society will have either a copy of it or access to it, or possibly even the original version of it. So they are basically the keepers of history. Somewhat unofficial. They're not very popular with either the Federation, the Alliance, or the Empire, because of course they keep the unvarnished truth of things, which is not something that the Federation, the Empire, or the Alliance are all that keen about. And Tionisla, fortunately being one of the old worlds, was a planet in the Galcop era, and Galcop is an organisation in the Elite Dangerous lore that sadly no longer exists. In fact, it ceased to exist in the year 3174, if I'm remembering correctly, and it was effectively wiped out by federal and imperial politicking, although that is an opinionated view, shall we say. And but it is a place that's steeped in the old lore of Elite Dangerous. And it seems to be a fitting place for Halsey to perhaps find out some new stuff. So we'll go and see. But I'm guessing, Distant Worlds 3 guys, that we're here to assist in some way. So we've been summoned to the Tionisla system as part of this mission, so we'll find out what happens when we get there.
Is it too far-fetched to say that Tionisla is basically the Minas Tirith of the Elite universe?
I think that's about right. I mean, if you're going to make comparisons, right? Okay, I've just had the message pop up on my screen. Sorry, guys. It basically says, "Hello, welcome to Tionisla, Commander. Now would be the time to initialize your scanners in preparation for the next mission. There's no time to waste." And I've got a completed tick on my go to Tionisla, which was the easy part of the mission. Now configure my scanners. Now, okay, so what does that mean? How do I configure my scanners?
Quite a clever thing here.
Yep.
Just at the top of your mission there, you should have two little boxes. One that says Tionisla and one that has got a load of, well, /cal SCN USS in it.
Is that on my
a lot of stuff
main screen or in
on your So when it's on your mission somewhere.
Okay, I don't.
So you know where you've got your go to Tionisla, configure your scanners?
Yep.
Just above that, there's a little shaded box.
I don't.
Left click box.
I don't see a shade.
To go into your main campaign window, not through your.
Oh, you mean the meta lens?
Overlay.
Right. Sorry. I'm getting confused. Right, I can pop that up on the screen. So here we go. Okay, so, right. Okay, so. Okay, so I can see here, okay, mission report for duty, it's updated, it says I've got to Tionisla, which is obviously correct. I can see Tionisla and /cal SCN USS in it.
Yes, so lots of stuff in there. So left click on that.
Yeah.
And then in your cockpit, if you go to your local comms.
Okay, yeah.
And then paste that into your local comms and press enter.
Okay. So local comms is the one with the system. Is that right?
So you've got system chat and you've got chat main, and it should say to local.
Okay, I've got chat system and chat main. I understand what I'm doing there. Yeah.
Yeah, so if you go into chat main,
it'll
say at the bottom there, to local, select a type your message.
Right.
Click on that and Control V and paste it in.
Oh, I see. So you've already pasted it. Right, okay.
Yep.
So how do I... I've got to. I don't use the chat very often, so I've got to. Right, there we go. Okay, so Control V, and I paste. Okay, so I paste, and it's pasted /cal/scn USS in it. So you're sending me codes to put into the chat. Okay, interesting. Let me switch that off to so people can see it. Okay, so there I am in chat main. I've posted Control V, posted it from your UI into the chat. Okay, so and I just press return here.
Send it. Yeah.
Just clicking the screen. Ooh. Okay. Okay, so that was it. Okay, so configure your scanners. So I've done a thing. I've actually aligned my scanners with your code. Is that right?
That is correct, and that should have completed that little task.
It has indeed. I'm just going to show that again. So okay, so that I've now configured. I can see there. Configure your scanners has worked, and I've got some experience points. So I've gained 1,000 experience. What is that? Can I trade those in for something exciting?
They're the same as internet points, so you can gather as many as you like.
Internet points, excellent, fantastic. Right, okay. Well, there we are. I'm guessing, therefore, that's the initial mission completed. That would seem to be fair, right?
Yeah, that is your first mission complete. So if you just left click on that mission, it will close it down, and you should have another one.
Excellent. Okay, that's the mission text. So I've completed that one. Okay. So digging up the past is the next one. There we go.
Indeed, it is.
There we go. So we get a chained mission. Fantastic. Okay, so this one's now from Jasmina Halsey herself, digging up the past. Okay. People need to realise that the universe moves on with or without us, preferably with us, though. I like her style. Okay. Good day, Commander. I cannot risk this mission becoming public knowledge too early, so apologies for disrupting your schedules. I need something done for those who did something for me. Sorry for the inconvenience. This one is one of quiet surveillance. It was brought to my attention that we may be able to physically detect the cause of my visions by analysing missions data from some of the old records floating around. Tionisla is known for their timeless hulks, and with some help from the Tionisla Historical Society, I must ask you to search the Tionisla system and collect scans of degraded or encoded emissions. I'm quite sure a commander of your caliber knows how to find them. This would really need me to have a wake scanner. Is it a wake scanner, or is it? No, it's not. It's not. Is it?
This is your full system survey, FSS.
This is the FSS. Yeah. Okay, so I don't need to jump into that sort of detail. Okay, so my second mission is therefore available. Fantastic. Right, let me get rid of that. The graveyard. Now, yes, a few people have mentioned that. Now, of course, Frontier in their infinite wisdom has yet to put the graveyard in as a formal POI into the game. We have been asking for that for a long time. It still has yet to appear. I do every time they update something around here. I do check just in case. It was, of course, promised by Michael Brooks long ago. A promise which is now steeped into the ancient mist of time. Commander Beetlejude actually says they can't do it because it would break the game. Is that because it would just be too big, too complicated? I don't know. I'm sure there must be they're clever folks. There must be a way, surely. Even if it's not quite to the same scale as perhaps we would expect it to be, I'm sure there's a way to do it. But anyway, we are being encouraged to do an FSS scan here, so let us do that. So do I need to? Is that literally just a honk, guys, or do I need to do the full works of the FSS?
Full FSS.
Right. So I'll do my scan first then. So there are 30 bodies in the Tionisla system. Right, the FSS is on. Now I think I have scanned everything here before. So, actually, no,
so if you bring it all the way to the left-hand side, that's where all your signal sources are.
Got that.
And that's what you're looking for.
Okay, so I can see a few of them there. Zoom in. Energy tuning has failed, so I've obviously got something here that I haven't seen because it's not.
You need to go further to the left.
Yeah, all the way to the left.
leftmost.
Oh, right there. Right.
On.
Okay, gotcha. Sorry, yeah, I haven't done this for a while. There we go. Okay. So that's a convoy dispersal pattern. That's not what we're after. That's a distress call. Somebody else will have to deal with that. Encoded emissions. There we go. There's another convoy dispersal pattern. Okay, there are a few more about, so there's plenty of these. But this is quite impressive that you can tie into game POIs and drive mission impacts off them. I'm quite impressed by your coding, I have to say.
That one's all Orthon.
That's all author. Yeah, it's impressive stuff. Now, actually, I've got a slight issue here, in the sense.
Well, essentially, with the emission areas, you have to select them and fly to them and drop into them. That's why you had this code to configure the scanners, essentially, because there's no inbuilt-in thing in the game. And,
Yeah.
So you're kind of preparing from a role-playing point of view your ship to actually do the thing it needs to do.
No, that's right. That's clear. I say once you get more familiar with it, it's going to become more and more familiar. I mean, obviously, this is the first time I've kind of tried this.
So what you've also got to be careful with is that these emissions, encoded emissions, are based on timer events as well. That's in-game timer events.
Yes.
So you might find when you scan one, you might find there might be only 2 minutes remaining for that particular drop-off point to get to. So you might not make it, might just disappear as you get there. So you just got to choose where your destination is a bit.
Okay,
wisely.
so when I find an emissions, so I found an encoded emissions there on screen now. Do I have to go there to trigger this?
If you look at that one, you've got something like 30 odd minutes remaining on it.
Yep.
So you know that's going to be around for a while for you to get there.
Gotcha.
I noticed that you popped up one earlier and it had 2 minutes left. So
2
the
minutes.
chances of you getting there and scanning it is pretty slim.
But in order to collect the emissions data that I've got on the screen here, I've got to go there. Is that right?
That is correct, yes.
Right. So I suppose I ought to go then. So, so if I set filters for this case, I don't want any of this stuff. Just want those. Encoded emissions is one of the ones I do want. So this is for Jasmina. I've got to go and investigate these encoded emissions locations. Brilliant. Okay.
Whilst you're on your way there, you may notice on your meta lens where it says collect emissions data, it will
Yep.
say 0 of 10.
Yes.
So you need to visit 10 of them.
I need to visit 10 of them. I was going to think you're going to have me flying around for a while doing this. That's quite good.
Jasmina's not going to make it easy on you.
No. Yeah. She's a hard taskmaster.
Demanding politicians.
Yeah. They're always the same, aren't they? So Commander Beetlejuice. Now I hadn't heard this. This is very interesting. She said you can only have 4 wrecks maximum in a USS site, and that sounds like maybe it's a technical limitation that Frontier's got, which means that there's no way to put enough things into a POI to make the graveyard a thing. I don't know if that's a technical limit. I don't know why the technical limit would be that low, but that's an interesting piece of intel there from Commander Beetlejuice. So maybe she's heard that from somewhere. I haven't heard that myself before. So that's very cool. First time chat also from Matt in Middletown. I could swear that I had already been following you. Well, you're following me now. That's good to see. So let's get over here and do some encoded emissions threat. So from a narrative perspective, so Alessia Verdi here has been intrigued by Jasmina Halsey's visions. It's a story thread that we wanted to play with because I think you and I, Andrew, had discussed that it was one of those pieces of Elite Dangerous storytelling that was very intriguing and then sort of led somewhere because she had the original visions of the Caretakers, of course, did sort of lead to the Guardians, didn't they? I think that was the payoff in the original Frontier story.
Yes, it was. I don't know the year. I think it was 2015. And
It
if
was
I
early on, wasn't
remember,
it? It was early on. Yeah.
yeah, if I remember correct, she had her visions, and that was also the time when players could hand in their own Galnet articles, and I know, or I seem to remember that quite a few people from Canon Research, they got really agitated when the story went that Jasmina Halsey was found adrift in an escape pod, and she was basically shoved off to the Clearwater Clinic. I think that was the name.
Yes. Yeah. That's a euphemism if ever there was one, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a little bit like V for Vendetta, like
Yeah.
Lark Hill. So medication facility.
Indeed. Yes.
So a couple of fellows from Canon and also from quite a few other organizations, I imagine, got agitated, and they demanded in the forums and with their handed in Galnet articles that access be granted to Jasmina Halsey and her medical data and whatnot. And
Yep.
she then released a statement about her visions. And the next thing I remember is there was a community goal where Jasmina Halsey asked the players to, it must have been exploration data, I think, to
Yeah,
gather
makes sense.
exploration data to find out more about these visions. And simply speaking, that eventually led to the discovery of the first Guardian ruins in the Stinuefe sector, I think it was.
Yep.
With Ramtar saying, yeah, I know this stuff and I can help you. But that was basically, after that, there was a break. We haven't heard from Jasmina in a long time then. She then emerged back as sort of an advocate for peace. She founded I think the Imperium Foundation or something like that, and that was basically it. And later, a few years later, she reappeared on the political stage, being named counselor to Prime Minister Mahon.
That's right. Yeah. So she ended
that-
up working
yeah.
for the Alliance, didn't she? And for those of folks who are not aware of Jasmina's original background, of course, she was the president of the Federation, wasn't she?
Yes, she was, but she was
Not for very long.
not very long. No, they wanted to have Hudson, and they got Hudson. See where that took you. And yeah, because she was hospitalized, I think Hudson called on a vote of no confidence or something.
That's exactly
And
it. Yeah.
they basically voted her out of office. Winters became shadow president, and Hudson became, with a lot of industrial backing, became the Federation president.
That's right.
The
Yeah.
rest, they say, is history.
And of course, her original disappearance prior to the original set of visions was that she was on board the Federation kind of a sort of flagship, really, wasn't it? Starship One, which was, I can't remember where she was en route to now, but she was en route sort of on a diplomatic mission, and it just disappeared, didn't it? It just dropped off. Yeah, it jumped into hyperspace and didn't come back out again. And that was when we started searching for her as players, I think, to find out, where did she go? Because clearly she was the president, and it was a bit unnerving for ships to disappear in hyperspace.
Yeah. I think she was on a trip. She wanted to collect votes from the frontier systems to counter the vote of no confidence, and she wanted to create a counterbalance to the old influential core worlds, and of course that was a little bit too much for the old industrial complex.
Yep.
And speculation was there immediately that it was not an accident, and
Well,
nearly simultaneously.
Nothing's ever an accident in the Dangerous Universe. Is it?
No, well, quite naturally you
Yeah.
are dead, so it's natural causes. I think her vice president, Nigel Smeaton, was found dead in a swimming pool a couple
Yep.
of days earlier or
That's
after
right.
that. So it all was a little bit too dodgy, and yeah. But the whole visions narrative, that became a loose end when Frontier abandoned the Jasmina Halsey
That
storyline.
story, yeah, because it was tangentially
Yeah.
linked to the Guardians, but we never really got to the bottom of it. And I mean, Andy P's asking a question in the chat: is was her ship ever found? Well, the wreckage was found, wasn't it? And she was found alive in an escape pod shortly afterwards. Right,
Yes, that was a community goal as well.
That's right. Yeah, that was an early community goal. So yeah, so the wreckage was found, and it was sort of attributed to a random hyperspace failure, which obviously was not a very satisfying explanation because clearly it wasn't.
It wasn't that random, no.
It was extremely intentional, accidental hyperdrive failure. I think that's what we call it. But she was found, and then she basically when she was sort of resuscitated from the escape pod, she had these amazing visions. And you can go and read that Galnet article for yourself. It's still part of the history. But she talked about caretakers, and she talked about kind of a universe of embodied intelligence, and she went on a very, very flowery sort of explanation. So, what did you make of what she said?
I think it was very esoteric,
Yeah.
and well, talking about, I'm not going to say Guardians of the Galaxy because that's
No, can't say
Marvel's
that.
that's
Yeah.
Marvel's domain, obviously. But I found it very interesting because it took we had the Formidine Rift mystery, which always has been a mystery. It has been
Yep.
advertised as a mystery. Nobody really knew what was going on at the time. We had the formation of the Formidine Rifters. And other than that, Elite was very technical and very not really action driven, but game mechanic driven. And then we suddenly had these visions, caretakers of the universe, guardians of creation.
Yep.
And I thought at the time that was a very interesting twist. Maybe we are going in the way of something more esoteric or metaphysical, of which I am a big fan. So yeah, I had the expectation that there would be I don't know, a good end.
Yeah,
There would be a good story to a good ending. However evil the good ending would be.
That's right. Yeah. So what did she? I'm just going back to see if I can find out exactly what she said. It's probably. I'm going to look up, see if I can find the original Galnet article. Right. So here we go. This is. I'm just going to read this out so people can get their own view on whether or not this is. She dreamed. She basically, about the starship's destruction. She basically says, "I remember very little: a thunderous noise and then silence, being thrown across the bridge in my chair, and then being unable to breathe. I remember one of my bodyguards getting to me as the pod things floated about silently like a dream. And the last thing I remember is a terrible pain in my ears and a very loud noise as the pod filled with what looked like steam. So that's her experience of the ship disintegrating." And then this is what she said. She, about her experience. She said, "It was wonderful, amazing. I saw the universe and our galaxy within it as I'd never seen it before, and I felt the presence of the real caretakers of our galaxy." And it's interesting there. She says real caretakers, and she felt their presence as in present tense, not an historical civilization such as we know the Guardians to be. Then she goes on to talk about the paradox of their existence, tiny yet gargantuan, fleeting yet eternal. And they spoke to me as I drifted in the void. It was amazing, and I must share their message. And she later issues a request for people to understand this. It's and so the official account, of course, as we already discussed, is well that was the Guardians, right? But the Guardians don't quite align with that description. It's intriguing that we were led to the Guardians perhaps as a result of that vision, but is that actually what she was seeing? Questions, right?
Maybe and maybe not.
Yep. Yeah. We don't know at
Maybe
this
we
stage.
will. Maybe we will see.
And I think from a narrative perspective, when we were looking at this, it was kind of like, well, there's a loose end. That's one of those loose ends that really ought to be tidied up. And so we'll see. So Jasmina is evolved, and we're going off exploring. Are we? I mean, and I won't reveal this if it's not okay with you, because you tell me. Are we allowed to say anything about where Distant Worlds 3 is heading, or is that top secret at the moment?
That's Karnoth's domain, I would.
I mean, obviously, it's going to be out into the depths of the galaxy, or is that as much as we know right now?
It's going to be in this galaxy. Yes.
It's going to be in this galaxy. We're narrowing it down to this part of the universe.
Just about, yeah.
Okay, cool. No, that's fine. No, I mean, let's say, things are going to go. So Tuplex has come up with an interesting, interpretation here. He says rather it's the Guardian AI maybe that took care of the Guardians themselves, because the Ramtar logs and all that sort of stuff did indicate that the Guardians used an AI, didn't they? Which I'd have to go back and read the Ramtar logs in detail, but didn't the Guardian AI effectively sort of become its own, its own entity, its own master, independent of the Guardians?
I think that's a point that Ramtar couldn't finally find out, because when you read the various log entries from the obelisks, you get a lot of information about their technological capabilities, their social behavior, and I think there is mention, and we picked that up in the story as well, that they basically outsourced a couple of manual, social, intellectual functions to autonomous or artificially intelligent machines, but we don't really know if that's true, and we don't really know much about their capabilities.
Yep.
What was it? A network? Was it basically 10 robots taking care of the household? I think that's where the logs stopped, quite likely for a reason, Frontier speaking. So it's what we have is not really a factual source book like you have for the various Dungeons and Dragons races. Like, this is a source book about the Drow, and this is a source book about the dwarves, and we don't really have a source book about the Guardians, which is a cool thing, because different players will interpret things differently. I think
that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's. Well, what's interesting, of course, is it's quite timely given the way. Let's say from I'm going to use the word meta here, in its strict Latin sense, as in above and beyond. But because obviously in the real world that we all inhabit at the moment, AI has become such a major talking point and disruptive technology in only the last few years, really. I mean, I think if I went back in time 5 years ago and somebody said, AI to me, I'd go, well, I'm aware of the concept, but it's not something that's impacting my daily life. Whereas if you ask me that question today, I'll go, it's bloody everywhere. You can't do anything anymore now without bumping into AI every 5 minutes, right? So it's a topic which is very relevant to us right now, I think. Just going to do a little bit more scanning. Oh, I found some more. Excellent. I am making my way through
How many do you have right now?
I've got 4, and I've just found
Okay.
found 3 more. So I'm getting there. It's probably not as fast as all the experts, but it's getting there. It's getting there. Some of them are threat 3, so I might have to be careful because I haven't got any weapons on my exploration ship.
It'll be all right. Jump in, jump out.
Jump in, that's it. Yep. Karnath, you might not be aware of
convoy dispersal signals.
Yeah, you might not be aware of my reputation. It'll be fine. Whenever I say that, something usually really bad goes wrong. Cyberdami thinks we should regard Ramtar with caution because, of course, he's an NPC with his own agenda, right? Yeah. So I mean, how trustworthy are the NPCs within the Elite Dangerous Universe? Can we, Halsey's, she's she's an ex-Federation president. She has had what many people would say was a mental breakdown. Now she's having these visions and instructing people to do stuff. So there's a question. How trustworthy is she as somebody dishing out requests? Ramtar is almost exclusively the only information we have on the Guardians and any information that might be related to that. So it's difficult to okay, well, who's telling the truth? Is anybody telling the truth in the Elite Dangerous Universe? Almost certainly not. But
they are telling their truth.
They're telling their truth. Absolutely right. Yeah. So at this point, obviously, Halsey has had a renewed vision. And that's the story that we're going after, and that's how this mission to Tionisla has been set out. So Halsey's new vision is in some ways very similar to the vision that she had previously, but there's a few aspects of it that are different this time round. So last time she was just sort of amazed and inspired and sort of overwhelmed by the vision of the caretakers, whatever these things are. This time she's getting it's still the caretakers. She mentioned them by name, but this time she's basically saying something is wrong, something is adrift, something doesn't feel right, and so what does that mean? Is it, what could possibly be wrong?
Well, you have to ask her.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the obvious question, isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, every story needs a climax somewhere, and you already said that there are a lot of loose ends in the let's call it the old law, so 2014 to, I don't know, maybe 2018.
Yep.
There are a lot of loose ends that players from that era will probably recognize in the story, which has the advantage that new players, if they want to follow the narrative and the story, they will get to know the old law from telling, from the missions or from the story that we offer throughout Distant Worlds 3, through interaction with other players, maybe on the FleetCom Discord by chatting about events. So when Jasmina Halsey said in that YouTube video, there is a place where the old meets the new, that's not only Tionisla, but that's also Distant Worlds 3 and the story and the events that we offer.
Yep.
So we also hope that newer players will get a glimpse of what has been happening years ago and maybe try and find their own mysteries or solve their own mysteries.
Indeed. So it's probably fair to say that you and I have trawled all of the events of yesteryear in the Elite Dangerous Universe, and pulled together various different threads, some of which have gone very stale, and some of which are there, still visible, and woven those into something that will unfold as part of Distant Worlds 3. So we obviously can't give out any more clues than that, but it will serve players who are intrigued by the old lore. It will also serve players who like to have a squirrel through all the old galnets and find out what's going on in there. But if I start saying things like the old lore of Elite, the old lore of Frontier Elite 2, Frontier First Encounters, and Elite Dangerous, the unresolved pieces that have been kind of lurking around for a while, is fodder for the story, shall we say? That's possibly as much as any detail we want to give at this stage. He says, cackling inanely with an evil sort of laugh. Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah. So, and it's nice because Frontier's effectively given us as long as you don't do stupid stuff with the lore, then feel free to to bring stuff in. So obviously we can't make characters do things that they're not. It wouldn't be appropriate for them to do. But they're aware of what we're doing and they're plugged into it as well, which is a great thing.
Yeah, I mean they have been more and more eager to get feedback from us. I don't know if your voice permits it, Karnath. Do you want to talk something about the frequency and the interest that Frontier have shown us over the last couple of days?
Can't really fault them. I can really praise them for the feedback, and the information is exchanging on a daily basis, making lots of progression from a narrative point of view, with other things that ideas that we've suggested, and they've come back to us with either alternatives or maybe there's something that they can do to improve on what we've suggested as an idea, and how the story develops, and it's very promising, and it's amazing to be involved with.
So that's really encouraging to hear, because it means that they're aware of what you guys are doing. You've kind of got their ear. I mean, they're not going to give you everything that you asked for, but they're going to.
I tried. I did try.
Exactly right. Yeah, absolutely. You should have done. That's really good.
I tried everything, and I still try now. But
I want to,
they just laugh at me now.
I want a kilometre high. Yeah.
Well, we have the same way I come from. Shy kids get nothing. You know what I mean?
Right. Exactly.
So if you don't ask, you're never going to get it. But,
I think you should.
I've tried.
You want a kilometre high obelisk on the moon that says "Karnath was here." Yeah, with a big glowing light on. I think that's a totally reasonable request.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, but what it does mean is that, of course, one of the things that we've always sort of lamented about a bit with exploration missions is that whilst the Elite Dangerous universe is beautiful and stunning, and it's stellar, it's accurate to a certain degree in terms of stellar formation, all those kind of things. At the end of the day, is there anything new out there to discover and be involved in genuinely? That's going to be one of the always things. And there's lots of satisfaction in going to a place where nobody's been before and scanning the things and putting your mark on the universe in sense of being the first one back with that exploration data. But that's always been the case, right? Whereas what this involvement with Frontier means is that yes, all of that is still true, but there's going to be a bit more to it than that, and we're obviously not going to say anything about what that might be, but it does mean Frontier's plugged into Distant Worlds 3. If you join up with Distant Worlds 3, you're going to be in on an exploration quest that has some ramifications in game, is supported by a lore-based narrative, and there's going to be some stuff out there that you're not going to want to miss. I think that's the sort of
this is not your usual Distance World experience as well. There's a lot of new things this time round as well that we've tried and implemented. I know you did ask the question about the direction of the expedition, and I suppose I can say one thing is because people, I'm sure, will be asking the question, is this Beagle Point is not the end goal of Distance Worlds 3.
Yes, we're going somewhere else.
It's challenging and exciting,
and so it should be, right? There's once somebody's climbed Everest, what's the point of going there again, right? that was yesterday's exploration quest, or the last time. So we're going to be going elsewhere, and dare I say it, to boldly go where no one's gone before. Not quite where no one's gone before, because but a path less travelled. Let's say that. Right, I'm getting there now. I've got 7. I think I'm on my way to my 8th one now. So we are making progress. Well, I feel like I'm making progress. So I quite like the way that this is working, in the sense that you're giving me a quite a complicated vision. Now, talk to me about the multiplayer aspects of MetaElite, because at the moment I'm sort of doing this on my own. I'm collecting 10 scans, and then when I've collected those 10 scans, I'm on to the next mission, obviously. But you've mentioned there are multiplayer bits and pieces. So even in that instance, presumably, even if I do my bit, if somebody else hasn't done their bit, then collectively we don't succeed. So how does all that sort of stuff work?
Well,
That's on
essentially,
you, mate.
okay, yeah, essentially, every piece you are collecting is an entry which goes into the backend, and it's being counted towards the total goal. And even though the total goal is not visible to you yet, because it will be visible in the next mission,
Yep.
the moment we have, I think, around 200 or 300 such scans collected by a collective group of 20 or 30 commanders at the moment.
Okay.
And the point is to reach some total goal, which is necessary to actually find something in the data which is meaningful according to the lore of which is embedded in this mission line. So that's the way how things can be collaborated, essentially. And it can be more complex than this, but this is just one of the more easy ways to collaborate. I think in Ancient Mysteries, we had another thing where we were collecting obelisk data. And then our community has collected, I think, about 2,000 or 3,000 by now, which was also part of that storyline.
Okay.
I think, Andrew, maybe you should talk a little bit about Leah in that regard.
About Leah.
Yeah, I think it's something that maybe is interesting, and not everybody has access because they are not doing this Ancient Mysteries part. I don't know.
Right. The
Andrew's just been put on the spot, so there we go.
yeah, I have my sore throat tea standing right beside me. So, we had some pre-launch events that were supported by MetaElite campaigns, and one of them was the Ancient Mysteries, and I think some people are doing it still. They although we had a time frame for that mission, for that campaign, it's basically still available, so players can do it whenever they like. If I'm correct, and Othon, please correct me if I'm not. The campaigns, for the time being, the campaigns will not be deleted from the campaign manager. They just will be out of context for Distant Worlds 3, but for people who want to do them, they can still do them. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct. For example, in the case of Ancient Mystery, it was a collective event which was like in parallel supported by MetaElite. And then, yeah, of course, you say like in MetaElite, like be there by that date, but the whole campaign still keeps existing, so you can still do this entire expedition on your own. And all of the side quests which were involved, or like for example, there was also a big part to get Guardian technology for people which are new to the game, to support them in actually finding the right materials to unlock these things for Distant Worlds. So they remain relevant. I think there's only very few missions that were time gated, like the previous one. I cannot think of the name anymore, and this one.
It was the escort, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was the escort. So these all follow in line of a story which is actually evolving in real time. So it doesn't make sense to keep these campaigns after the events have been done. Essentially, that's why this one has a deadline which will pass. So the moment there are only 2 campaigns like that, but the other campaigns they remain in the environment for as long as.
So
as
what's
the
quite
writer
nice
wants
about
it.
that then is that you can have story-based missions that will expire because they're time bound, but we
Yes.
can also put events in that people can replay as and when they want to, just because they might be fun to do, or they're lore-based and education-based, and you could just use that as a kind of like, oh, go and do this because it's a cool thing. I've got a few questions in actually from the chat. So Deep Whitman's asked, it's kind of like a mini CG then. So you can contribute to a shared goal, which is quite nice. Gnordavarg is asking, is there, and I think this is a very good question actually, is there a full set of instructions for sort of how to join Distant Worlds 3 and what do you need to do? Because there's quite a bit here. So obviously we know Elite Dangerous itself is quite a steep learning curve, but what do you have to do in what order to kind of get into Distant Worlds 3, including joining up and getting MetaElite and all the other bits and pieces? What do you actually have to do? We've got about 100 people watching here actually, Andrew, so no pressure. So for people watching, if they want to join Distant Worlds 3, where do they go? What do they need? What do they need to install on their PC? What's the deal?
Well, they need to install Elite Dangerous
Right.
Odyssey edition. We will doing
Okay, so
all
Odyssey.
if not all of the stuff will be happening in Elite Dangerous Odyssey.
Right. Okay. So that's the first thing. Yep.
PC.
PC version. Yep.
PC.
Which I know. It's less controversial now than it was, of course. But with apologies to console players who are still out there, we have no alternative but to move on to where Frontier's gone. Right. Nothing we can do about it.
Right. Yeah. And we just had to decide.
I completely understand. Yeah.
That's the first. You need the game, and as soon as you are in the game, you are part of the canon, of course. And I think there are two major points of contact. One of them being, and Tuplex in the chat has kindly referred that it's the Distant Worlds 3 homepage.
Okay.
And it's not only a homepage. It's basically it's a work of art. So like
it is. It's
pretty much,
it
pretty much everything that we are doing.
It looks like the in-game Frontier menus. It's an amazing piece of website design. It's quite impressive.
They wanted to buy it from us.
Did they really?
No. Just
No.
oh man, how did you do this? How our own people can't do this? How did you do this? No. Sorry, Frontier, if you're listening. So. No, it's what I mean with work of art is that everything Distant Worlds 3 is concentrated in this homepage. So
okay.
It's basically a how-to. It's what you need to do, and it's an encyclopedia about the projects, the events that already passed and that are planned. So that's the main point of entry for Distant Worlds 3.
Okay, so that's Distant Worlds 3 .space. I like the domain name is excellent.
The other point of interest, the other point of entry is the Fleetcom Discord server, because Fleetcom is, I think, by far the most common exploration-themed Discord available, English-speaking, in Elite Dangerous, and literally every major expedition is hosted or is at least in some part attached to Fleetcom Discord, and all our coordination and all our bot programs running wing invites and running commodity deliveries, etc. And all our announcements about events and players looking for players, it will all be on Fleetcom Discord. So those are the two main points of entry. And if people want to follow the narrative interactively, like you are doing at the moment, Drew, they can but don't need install MetaElite.
Okay, so they can follow the narrative on the website if they want to, but they can follow it in game if they want a bit more interaction.
Yes,
Yep.
Yes,
I'm just gonna pause you there for a moment, Andrew, because I've literally just done the 10th scan. I've had a message from Jasmina herself, which basically says, "My gratitude for your efforts, Commander.
Dun, dun, dun.
Some years ago, a ship was interred in the Tionisla graveyard, which caused something of a disturbance. You must go there." So that's very cool. Let me just get on with the next mission then, because so that has just disappeared. Close down the mission. So it's now telling me to go. There is a tourist beacon entitled "Curious Transmission Partially Decoded" in the system. Please go there and scan the beacon. Consider it an entry ticket of sorts. So that is technically the in-game location of the Tionisla graveyard, although it doesn't actually exist. So we're going to have to use our imaginations a little bit for this one. But I will go off and do that mission now, and then you continue on with your explanation.
Yeah, where was I?
Distant World 3 website, I think. Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the third point of entry is for all the players who want to follow narrative and do stuff, contribute, earn XP, earn badges. MetaElite is the way to go, definitely.
Brilliant.
So
Okay.
those are the three major points, and
you also have to don't you have to sort of sign up? Do you have to sign up to the roster, or is that an optional thing for you as a commander?
yeah, you need to register, and you can do that on the Distant Worlds 3 homepage. You need to apply to the FleetCom private group.
Yep.
Private group is important. Distant Worlds 3 is going to happen exclusively in the FleetCom private group, and you need to apply, and you also need to agree to a certain rules, like you're not going to blow up other people's stuff unless they explicitly ask you to.
So it's PvP,
so it's,
but bar consent only is the rule, effectively.
yes, PvP, if at all, will be announced and will be held in the form of consensual events.
Right,
so that's one
so
of the
I
things.
suppose there are some questions in the chat as well. I'll just read those out to you. So D. Pittman's basically saying everyone should read the story so far, which I think is a good thing, and you can get all the story from the Distant World 3 website. That's good. First time chat from Benjamin Sisko. Interesting enough. Welcome aboard. We need commanders of your caliber.
In his Caspian Explorer, probably.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So that's good. Tifcat has a good question here. What sort of time should we need to dedicate each week whilst Distant Worlds 3 is running? So I suppose that's a question. I mean, some gamers will have plenty of time available. Some players, with families and limited time on the computer, will have less. How much time do you think a participant in Distant Worlds 3 is going to have to do to keep up with the expedition? It's probably not an exact number, but maybe a figure, a guesstimate is useful here.
Well, that's really hard to say.
Yeah, I think the times change, sort of thing, with the way these ships are developing, with longer jump ranges, etc.
Yep.
So the way the waypoints work is that we'll kind of arrive on a Friday, on a kind of a weekly basis. Arrive on a Friday, depart on a Sunday, and again, there's different sections and different distances between different waypoints.
Yep.
To put an exact figure on,
could you give
the
us
time involved.
Yeah, could you give us a maybe an upper limit to a distance between waypoints? Would that be so? I mean, are we talking tens of thousands of light years, or 1,000 light years, or what sort of distances between waypoints might we be experiencing?
That's a great question. I ran the route in January, at the beginning of this year.
Yep.
JT's literally just done it this week. He might be better to answer that sort of thing, because I know he's just done the whole route just now, haven't you?
Yeah, I started on Thursday and finished this morning.
Okay,
so yes, it's a job though. I mean, this was in the Caspian as well.
Yeah.
Neutron running it, so it was.
Okay.
it was a tall order. But yeah, you're looking about somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 light years ish between
Okay,
each one.
so for a let's say a well, so I suppose the recommendation is if you are time, if at all time pressured, then make sure you bring a ship that's got a really good jump range.
Yeah, I mean that's
It would
standard
be,
exploration, isn't it?
yeah.
It is indeed.
absolutely.
Yeah, it is indeed. I mean, I at the time of the Distant Worlds 1 and Distant Worlds 2, my kids were still at home. I mean, time's gone past, right? My kids have since moved out, but and I've got a bit more time on my hands in some ways than I did then. But I managed to keep up with Distant Worlds 2, and so did my kids. Playing on their own. So it was possible for sort of people with families and limited time to keep up, but you had to stay on top of it and make sure you put a bit of effort in. But it's certainly not impossible. But I think if you're saying it, several thousand light years per waypoint makes sense, doesn't it? So if people get a feel.
I think in
for that.
today's sort of ships, you're only looking at 70, 80 jumps, something on those lines.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a higher 4-digit number, so to say, like JT said, maybe between 7 and 8 and 9,000 light years. But it's it also depends what the players want to do. I mean, in Distant Worlds 1 and 2 we didn't have carriers. Distant Worlds 3 we are going to have 4 official Distant Worlds 3 carriers. And we ask the players to leave their personal carriers at home because of immersion, because of possible lag, blue tunneling, etc. It's just going to get awkward the more carriers we have out there. So what we are offering is to players, if they say I really can't make it this week, they can dock on one of the carriers and hop out of the carrier, out of the hangar on, I don't know, when we arrive on a Friday. They obviously will be events along the waypoints like there were during Distant Worlds 1 and 2. And if that's the focus they want to have, they can do it. They basically can do it on the weekends, and then they can have themselves taxied to the next waypoint if they can't make it.
So there are official Distant Worlds 3 carriers that people can join, which will be a big time
yes,
saver.
Yes, there are.
That week I'm on holiday, I can't do anything, so I'm going to dock with a carrier, and then I can get a free lift across part of the voyage. Nice. Okay.
However, there will be in fantasy MMO speak. There will be side quests. Like, I don't know, kill 8 orcs, give me 10 rat tails or something. And these will be offered during the week.
Okay.
And will basically, I think some of them will contribute to the story. So it may get interesting between waypoints.
Of course, yeah.
But
I mean, if you're not there, you obviously can't take part in things. So the more time you've got, the more opportunity there is to take part, but you're not necessarily going to miss out on things just because you're time poor.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that's cool.
But I think we also have a certain British author who will keep people who are missing out things in the loop, I heard. He's
reasonably reliable most of the time, so I've heard. So, yeah.
So
if you
I
remind
think basically it'll all come together somehow.
People in the chat say British. Well, technically I am British. I do have dual nationality, but I'm also Canadian as well. Canadian by birth, British by adopted passport, at least at the moment. So there we go. Another thing for confusing things, but there, it's quite good. So right now I've now had another message from Jasmina saying I've reached the beacon, and I now am being asked to take a code. So I'm assuming I copy and paste my mission thing and then type this into the local chat again. Is that right?
Yeah, again, left click and then Control V into the local chat.
Right. Okay.
The code's interesting, I think.
There we go. I do vaguely remember this code. Yes, I'm familiar with this code. So that's good. Well, I'm going to type that in, and then boom, I get. Okay, so I've had another message saying, thank you, Commander. More data is required, though. 500 scans in total should be enough. 500. She's a tough customer. So I have also recruited others to do the same task. Think of it as a community goal. Okay, so I like the way it's been integrated here. So now the mission that's showing up in Jasmina is help your fellow commanders. So okay, so it's now showing 342 out of 500. So that's presumably exactly what we were talking about earlier, which is the community aspect of MetaElite. So there are other commanders out there currently working, but we've got 158 scans still to do collectively. Is that right?
Yeah, bear in mind, we got another 2 days. So
We've got another 2 days.
Don't worry
We're
too
good.
much about it.
Excellent. As long as I haven't got to do all those myself, I'm going to be happy. Fantastic. Brilliant. Okay, so that is a task for other people to, and presumably anybody watching this stream could now go straight to MetaElite, install it, run it, fly to the Tionisla system, and take part. There's really nothing else, and that will contribute to this number, will it?
That is correct. Yeah.
That is correct. Brilliant. Okay, so I don't know what everybody's waiting for. Get out there. Get moving.
And if that number
actually, it's updating in real time. I've just noticed as well. It's now jumped from 342 to 344. So somebody out there is busy, which is excellent. So that's good to see. So
if that number is reached, everyone gets a badge as a result of it. So that's kind of a completion reward, and it will be present when you click on your name, Alessia Verdi, at the top. You see an overview of what you accomplished and things like that, and a badge will be present there.
Oh, okay. So so I can see badges and titles, but I haven't got anything yet because I haven't achieved anything, which is fine.
Another thing which is interesting, if you right-click on the avatar of an NPC, you get the full biography too.
Oh, okay. So we can look at different characters and find out what they're up to as well. Okay, so this is, not to put too fine a point on it, but this is the sort of thing that we wished that the in-game, what's it called? Because it's so chronically underused, sadly. The codex. That's the
codex.
This is kind of a live codex, isn't it? That we can update with information about different people that are related to the mission. So and things can change as more is discovered. So it's an amazing system that you built here, which allows us to add in new and improved kind of mission stuff, but with much faster flexibility than Frontier are able or have the bandwidth to do. So it links in with what they've got. So we're almost using Elite Dangerous as the board, and we're setting up a game on top of that board, right?
Yeah, that's right. But there's also a lot more to this as well. And if I can get Othan to explain life with MetaElite after Distance World's over, I think this is where it's going to really shine and really come into its own.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll touch on that because that is intriguing as well. Somebody's just asked me Azalea. Really, guys. Now, Azalea is not our name. We didn't make that up. That is a slightly unusual choice, perhaps, for a first name. But that's what she was called in Galnet. So we're just riffing off what Frontier's already provided there. Azalea is not a character that we invented. She is original Frontier lore, so don't blame us for slightly funny names.
Well, the parents must
what
have
about
liked
What
flowers.
about Cuthric Delaney?
Cuthric Delaney. Now he was written by that strange Canadian author that some people have been talking about.
When he wasn't British.
When he wasn't British, yeah. Now, technically, all of the characters that I produced in Elite Reclamation and Elite Premonition are all Frontier's IP as well. That was the deal. So I don't technically own the rights to those characters. So they're all Frontiers as well if they want to use any of them. To be honest, there are so many characters now in the Elite Dangerous universe. I get the impression that Frontier's forgotten about a lot of them because I don't think they've written them down. So I think they know and I've got active plans for most of the power play characters because obviously they're kind of quite important, but the lesser, the secondary NPCs in their list of things, including all the ones that they got from me and everything else involved, they're clearly less concerned about, which means that we can write stories about them, which is really good. But we're not. If you see a character in there, some of them are NPCs that I think Andrew's created. But the other ones are going to be possibly either genuine frontier characters that have come through the lore as well as NPCs, and we're going to meet some old favourites as well, aren't we? We probably don't want to talk about who they might be, but there's some characters from the lore that I think people are going to enjoy seeing again, having their time in the spotlight in the story.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely one of the liberties of fan fiction.
Yep.
When the owner of the intellectual property says, I don't have any problem with you using our major figures in your fan fiction, that leaves you with possibly with more options than coordinating everything and asking for allowance about every bit of dialogue that you write, because it may collide with something they have in mind. And Karnos also sent our contacts at Frontier the motion cap Jasmina Halsey video, and Drew, that they also have the story synopsis.
Yep.
And they haven't come back. They haven't really come back to us and said, "What outlandish ideas do you have? That's Star Wars. That's Star Trek. That's The Expanse. That's Guardians of the Galaxy."
Yeah.
No, they didn't. They said, your fan fiction is fine with us. Go ahead.
Yeah, and that's good. I mean, and I say we've been very careful to not go outside what we think Elite Dangerous lore should actually kind of look like, but within those confines, coming up with a compelling story that frames the Distant Worlds 3 expedition makes it exciting for the players and gives them something to think about and speculate about, and tying it into the original Elite Dangerous lore, tying it into the threads and missing characters and all the other weird stuff that's been happening over the years, visiting some cool places and doing some cool things and basically having some fun along the way. So that's kind of what it's all about. So all of those things are happening simultaneously, which is good. Sorry, going back to MetaElite then. So obviously at the moment it's a sort of mechanism for telling the story and having missions along the way for Distant Worlds 3. But you've alluded to there, what happens after Distant Worlds 3? What does MetaElite do then beyond Distant Worlds 3? Because I've got some ideas and I want to see if you've got the same ideas.
Well, the intention is to open up the editor to the entire community.
Wow.
And so
okay.
everyone
So
can start creating missions for everyone, essentially.
Fantastic. Okay, so you're going to have a mission editor.
Yeah, it already exists.
Yep.
It's just in a format that if you don't know what you do, you can ruin the back end, essentially, because it's really a bit bare bone.
Okay.
So user friendliness has to be added to it, and we're still thinking a little bit about how to do it, because I would prefer to have official writers in a sense.
Yeah. So
that guarantee a certain level of quality, and then besides that, you have everyone that can make missions for everyone. So, for example, if you are a background simulation group, then you can start creating missions that drive your background simulation, or if you're a lore group, you can start adding lore. You can make missions to train people into combat or anything really in the game, essentially. Yes, that's the goal.
Brilliant. So I mean,
if I can just
no, go ahead.
If I can just jump in a second. So MetaElite, with this additional storytelling, we can also hide things in the game, which we've already done. So I'm going to give you a little clue as to a new mission, which will not be appearing in your list currently.
Right.
If you go to Lave and dock at Lave Station,
jump
out of your ship and go speak to the barman. Ask him about INRA.
Okay.
Literally just type that into local chat and see what happens.
Okay, we're going to have to try that then. That sounds like fun. So Lave Station.
Yeah, Lave Station.
Right, that's
The barman's name is Darren Harding, so he's actually in that station.
well. We're sort of 10 minutes away from the end of the stream anyway, so we always end up in the bar. So that's I think this is a good call. Let's head to Lave Station then. Let's see what's going on. Right, there we go. Lave. It's obviously not very far away from Tionisla. It's nice to see.
It's absolutely nothing to do with Distant Worlds 3.
Nothing to do. This is just sort of shows. What's interesting here as well, of course, is the thing that I'm thinking is I keep being asked to rerun my lore tours, but yeah, that's quite a lot of work for me to pull together in terms of the time it takes me to do it and the time it takes me to put all those sort of things together. Now, the thought occurs that if there's a UI that allows me to write MetaElite missions, what I could do, if it makes sense, is I could basically say, right, well, go here and I'll tell you a little story about the background lore and the history of stuff, so I could do my lore tour, but basically then anybody could run it, the lore tour, whenever they wanted to, by just jumping into MetaElite and having a look around. But is that feasible?
It's completely feasible. I may or may not have actually already started one for you.
Yay! Oh, even better.
Actually, there were two reasons why MetaElite was created. One was JT's big Excel of the world, and the other was your lore tours.
Yep.
Essentially, to make that possible, what you're saying.
Fantastic. Okay, so that's the thing that we can work on in the future, and other bits and pieces. The other bits and pieces. Obviously, we've touched on Frontier's involvement. Now, obviously, we're still limited by the fact we're sort of feasting off the game APIs and anything the game can write to that API as a store in log files and stuff. So we can't. There's a limit to what we can inject into the game. Game experience by what we've got here. I mean, it's very, very good, but folks are going to basically be saying things like, yeah, but it's only text and it's not this and it's not that. And we're obviously things will evolve over time as well, I'm sure. But we do. Frontier obviously has the option to inject things into the game on our behalf, and we've already said that things, that they're involved and stuff will happen. Have they got, they've got tools available to themselves like CGs and various other bits and pieces and potential rewards that they could apply. Now, obviously, in the past we've had things like CGs, and we've also had the Distant Worlds 2 decals and things like that. If you're not allowed to say it, again, fine. But are things like that in the potential kit bag of things that Frontier might offer?
Yes. Yes,
but no details. Don't ask me anymore. No, which is cool. Okay.
That's the good thing about yes and no questions.
Yeah. Well, it's good. That's good. And that's I think it's important for players that stuff is there's cool stuff to be had, which is in game. Somebody's asking for a Dreamwaker bobblehead. I don't think that's a good idea. Not sure I'd want to see that. But the fact that there's an ability to make impacts on a story, the ability to find new stuff out in the void, the ability to take part in events, and also the comeback game. Well, hey, I went to the other end of the galaxy and all I got was this lousy decal, So, but be able to join in it and get things like that. That's quite good. And as we've seen, I think the latest version of Elite Dangerous, because obviously they couldn't do the Thargoid invasion in the previous version of Elite because it was just too difficult to code stuff in, whereas now they've obviously got the ability to put in more effects and more artifacts and more whizzy special effects and stuff like that. So they've got a slightly easier job of it than a plethora of new ships and stuff coming recently, haven't we? Which just hadn't happened for years and years and years and years and years. So it's bright, it's future, and the fact that they're behind this expedition, you've got an awful lot of support. We've got story, we've got permission to use NPCs. This is shaping up to be, I think, hopefully one of the big, really, really super memorable expeditions in the whole history of the game. So good luck to you all, is what I say. Good luck.
Thank you. And I think the story doesn't end there. Like Othan said, there are a lot of communities out there doing a lot of stuff like background simulation or their own roleplay with new content on the horizon, like what's it called? Operations, I think.
Yes. So there's new stuff coming in the game from Frontier, which is totally. Is different again, isn't it? But they've got some, and incorporating ground-based stuff into that as well.
Yeah, I mean, with every new content patch, substantial content patch, not only ships, that Frontier is going to put out, there's also the potential of new journal entries that can be generated, which then can lead to better, bigger, missions that can be created with this. So that's
really cool as well. So the more they put in, the more we can exploit effectively, or more we can do with stuff.
Exploit them,
exploit. Yeah, more we can make use of. That's really good. First time chat from Irish Bronco. He loves the hat. Thank you very much. It's a Some would say the hat is actually what's controlling the show, and who am I to argue?
It's a fedora, isn't it?
It's a fedora. It may be a sentient fedora. It's difficult to tell nowadays.
It's a guardian fedora.
It is. Maybe it's an AI. That's right. Yeah. It's a. I'll just go wait for this cobra. There's two cobras in the docking slip here at Labour, which is quite right actually. That's where all the one of them seems to be stuck though, so I'm just going to get past it. This is an unusual stream for me actually, guys, because I haven't died in it.
Yet.
Yet. Yeah.
Do you want that to change?
No, I don't. No, I'm very, very happy with not having died. I've done some things. I've completed some MetaElite missions. I'm doing well. We're up to 350 now, so it's good to see the progress live on the screen. It's just a shame we can't get that overlay to work. But
that's something you actually might want to show there as well. If while you're docked here now, there's some nice animation. If you flick back to your to your campaign manager while you're in this position.
Oh yeah, look at this. So it's told me where I've docked inside the bay. Okay, that's quite cool.
There you go, and it's obviously it's a nice graphic there as well.
Yeah,
it shows you whereabouts
I'm on large pad 24. Nice. A good attention to detail. I like that. Fantastic. Right. Well, I'm intrigued now by this this bartender. So you can actually react to comms, so we can actually have a chat now. If we can have a chat with the bartender, the big question that everybody on the stream is going to want answering now is, can we get him to give us a beer?
No.
Well, I believe it's your round, and we're all here waiting for it.
So I've got to provide the beers. Fair enough. Right. Well, I'm gonna wander up to the bar then. Where's the exit? Oh, it's miles away. Yeah, so of course it should be brandy at Lavian brandy. It's famous for it. But we've discussed many times how difficult it is to get a beer in the Elite Dangerous universe. So I'm heading for the concourse. And here we are. Right, so here is the Distant Worlds crew in-game in the bar. Excellent. Good to see you guys. Right, I'm going to give you a jaunty salute. There we are. Yay. 07 Commanders. Excellent. That's brilliant. Right, so I go to the bartender, you say. There he
So
is.
just walk up to the bartender, and then in your local chat, just ask him if he knows anything about INRA.
Okay, so how do I'm not very familiar with this, I must admit. How do I activate the... which
I
key?
think
if
it's
you
the
hold-
Q. It's
yeah.
the Q key that
Hold
opens
down
the
Q.
wheel.
Yours is E. Your natural talking key is E.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, I can see it on the screen. Okay.
Got something you need to offload?
It's not that, yeah, it's got to be through the local comm, so it's the Q.
It is the Q. Right. Okay.
Apologize, yeah.
Suit yourself. Makes no odds to
So
Or
me.
maybe you can
there
just
it is.
press
There we go.
enter.
So you got to press and hold Q for a moment, haven't you?
Yeah.
Okay, so what am I looking for here?
There'll be a little
Arrow
wheel that pops up.
up.
Oh, there, right, yeah, comms. Okay, right, so...
And literally just type in, do you know anything about INRA?
Okay, hang on, do I need to be... Oh, there we go. So to system, is that system chat?
To local. Always local.
Okay, always local. Do you know anything about INRA? Question mark. Oh, and the game responds. Okay, unfortunately, you guys can't see that because the overlay doesn't work. But Darren Harding, who is the NPC in front of me, is basically saying, "Somebody mentioned INRA?" Question mark. Ooh, okay. So good.
Now, if you look at the meta lens, you should see a whole
Can I
new
help
mission.
you, Commander?
Oh, I see. Okay, so
You should now be able to see the 5 corporate assassins behind you drawing their pistols.
okay, so I'm just gonna let me switch over to that for a moment. Okay, so here I've now got the INRA files mission has appeared in the campaign manager, so I can now go and investigate the whole of INRA using MetaElite, which is good. And you've managed to, so that you've done a huge amount of work here because you pinched the bartender's image effectively, put it into MetaElite as a campaign thing, and then presumably I go off and discover all the INRA sites. Is that the way the mission works? Spoilers, of course, but yeah.
Yeah, and once again, you can right click on Darren Harding and get the NPC description.
Okay, so Darren Harding is a barman who knows too much. Excellent. I mean, he works at Labour Station. Delicious with Labour and brandy. Don't tell anyone, especially after that business of BRJ. Yeah. Okay, so that is very cool. Is this the Jasmina Halsey? It is Irish Bronco. So yes. So early on in the stream we discussed that we've been in chats with Frontier, and the Distant Worlds 3 team have got permission to use Jasmina in the Distant Worlds 3 story. So yes, she's part of the mission. And she's one of the NPCs that's involved in the story. So head on across to Distant Worlds 3.space, the website, and the entire story is to date at least is available for you to read. So all very excited. I need a second monitor. Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah, you should try streaming this as well. The Distant Worlds 3 stream. So Jasmina Halsey has had a renewed vision, which is similar in many ways to the previous vision she had all those years ago, but now with a sense of urgency attached. So all the details are there on the Distant Worlds 3 website, and you can plug into the vision. I suppose a final question then for the Distant Worlds 3 guys. When does Distant Worlds? I mean, obviously there's preamble stuff going on now, which people are encouraged to be involved in. But when do we depart? When do explorers kind of actually engage hyperspace and head off into the black?
We'll be departing on the 18th of January.
Okay, so 18th of January is you've got to get your ship and your provisions ready for that. But what do you recommend in terms? Obviously, explorers will be familiar with what you need in an exploration ship. Is there anything else beyond that you'd recommend, or anything along
There's a full outfitting guide on the website as well for people that are new to this. What to expect, how to do it. You'll find that on the website as well. And for seasoned explorers, you guys, you know what you're doing.
Yep. So Distant Worlds 3 website has basically got the story. It's got what to do. It's got where to go. It's got roughly what you need to bring. Everything that you could possibly need. D. Pittman's recommending a good ship and fighting trousers. The the
and a
Distant World
towel.
3 website is an amazing piece of design. Quite a few people are looking at it going, that looks very impressive. So well done for that. Lots of compliments.
There is a specific section. There is a whole FAQ dedicated to the expedition itself.
Yep.
And there is also a whole section for new or not so experienced players, and that section is custom tailored to the expedition. So it's not about how do you distribute your pips to the system and to weapon systems, but the new player guide that we have on a Distant 3 homepage is tailored to the purpose. And you
Brilliant.
will find
Okay.
a
So
whole
brilliant.
load of information there.
Yeah, and there's also information or missions in MetaElite to help you obtain Guardian technology as well for those extra extra
Upgrades to your ship.
distances with jump range, etc. So there's missions in there to help you with that as well.
Fantastic, fantastic. Okay, so there's getting started guides, there's FAQs, there's story, there's preparation, there's sign up. Everything that you need is on that website. So that's going to good. Deep Pittman says, obviously bring a towel. Nice Hitchhiker's reference there. That's good. Tivcat says, are Linux players going to be able to play okay? There's a lot of talk about overlays. I don't know if that has an impact on what the art of the possible is in terms of things like MetaElite. Will that, if Elite Dangerous runs on Linux, will the MetaElite be able to work alongside it?
We have a small community of Linux users that gets it to work under Proton and Wine with the overlay functioning.
Brilliant. Okay, so good news for Linux users. It seems like it works. So that's great. Fantastic. And I know another thing that Andrew and I have discussed in terms of the narrative is we are aware that not all players know all of the background lore. So embedded in bits of the narrative, they're going to be there's a certain amount of kind of just bringing people up to spec with some of the old stuff as well. So that will be covered narratively as well. So even if you don't know anything about the background lore of Elite Dangerous and all the history that goes back hundreds of years, you're going to find out about it anyway.
Yes, but that also means that, and I said that in the last stream, we took the liberty to take NPC descriptions to the next level. So unlike, I don't know, some fantasy MMO where you just skip through the dialogue of the quest and then start wondering where these 8 orcs are that you have to kill. Yep. You've seen that with the NPCs. You can right click on the NPCs and you will get quotes from the NPCs and you will get a description. And you have the copy function in the MetaElite mission. There is a next level of information in the text that we embed in the missions. So everybody from the chat, tell all the other players that want to use MetaElite, we are really putting serious information in the mission text. So it's always valuable for you to read that and not to skip that.
Brilliant.
I know it's tempting to skip and say, yeah, he's sending me to Tionisla. It's okay. I know where that is.
Yeah.
And then once you're there, you start digging, and that's not exactly a trap, but that's a thing you may run into. So please, with much cream on the eye, read the mission text. Read the information that we provide.
Okay, so there's going to be in-depth stuff. So we're not only going to be providing, new players not familiar with the lore with an intro to it, so they can understand what's been going on a little bit. But even for seasoned players, you're going to have to be paying attention. Otherwise, So don't skip don't skip things too quick because you might miss stuff. Yeah. Fantastic, guys.
There's a tiny addition I want to do. There's a little information button bottom right that explains the entire interface. So people tend not to like to read documentation, but it is there.
Yep.
If you get stuck, everything is explained behind
I see
it.
there's an I button here. Let me click
Spoiler
on it. So
alert.
there you go. Metal Lens Info. Yeah, there we go. I've got it on the screen. So it tells you how to work things. So I mean, well done for documenting it. It's that's great to see. So well done. That was brilliant. Guys, it really just remains for me to say thank you ever so much. It's been an absolute pleasure to have you on the stream this evening, and I think everybody on stream has enjoyed it. It's been a very popular chat, Twitch stream, because I think we've had over 100 people watching regularly throughout the entire thing. So that's been great. It's absolutely fantastic. The sheer amount of effort that you put in to make all this work, not only from a coding perspective, but from a design perspective and the thinking, and I know it's taken a long time to get Distant Worlds 3 up to the starting plate. So that really, literally hats off. Only briefly, but there we go. For all your efforts in this.
Screenshot.
Yeah, no. You don't want to see that, trust me. But just a super vote of appreciation for me, and I think from the wider Elite Dangerous player community, because what you're doing, you're not doing for there's no money in this for you. This is the sheer love of the game and sheer love of playing the game, and particularly I think the exploration side of the game, which has always been my favourite part of it as well. So well done collectively as a team for all the work that you've been doing. It's incredibly exciting to see what this is going to be capable of. The fact that you've also managed to rope Frontier into providing you support, and they're on side, and the stuff going to be happening in genuinely in the game for players to experience and find when we're out there in the depths of space, which is why we all go exploring, right? Just brilliant. Absolutely first-rate stuff. So I'm hugely impressed. I'm really humbled that you asked me to help out with little bits of the narrative side as well. So thank you very much for that invitation. It's great, we can't wait. We're looking forward with bated breath to the launch in January. So all I can suggest to all the people watching is get yourself an exploration ship pronto, get it sorted, and be ready for the off. So it's going to be great fun. But thank you very much, guys, and all power to you, and best of luck with all the remaining preparations for Distant Worlds 3.
Thank you.
Thank you for your support, Drew.
That's been absolutely
Thanks for having us.
Fantastic, right?
See you in the black.
Yes, we will see you in the black. 07 and right on.
07,
Commanders, indeed. That's right. Yeah, something about space. Right, I will shut down the stream, and we'll see you anon. Be good. Take care, my friends, and
Yep. Take care.
right on, Commanders.
Here's